Yeah.
Okay, so good morning and welcome back to our class. I hope that you have a nice weekend. And today we have some new students. So before we start, I would like them to introduce themselves so we can know about each other better. So, Miss or Mr. Thin Lai, could you please turn on your camera and introduce yourself? Okay. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Okay, so please introduce yourself about your occupation and your expectation on this learning course.
Yeah. My name is Denle Tora. You can call me Ju because it's my nickname. My first degree is Bachelor of Art in Japanese at Yangon University of Foreign Languages. Now I'm trying to study abroad and I would like to join this program because I believe this program can affect my study journeys, and also after that I would like to join full master course, so I'm here.
Okay, so sorry, how can I pronounce your name correctly? Your nickname, Chuk?
Yeah, my nickname is Ju. Ju.
J-U.
Ju. Yeah.
J-U, Ju. Ju.
Yes.
Yeah,
Ju.
yeah. Ju, okay, Miss Ju. Okay, so where are you from?
I'm from Myanmar.
Myanmar. Okay, so how many years in your current occupation? How long have
How
you been
many?
working? How long have you been working?
No, I'm not experienced.
So you have sorry because previously I could not hear you clearly. So just some confirmation. So you are currently not working, right?
Yes,
So
I'm
what is your
just ex
major before your before graduated? What is your major?
uh, Japanese Bachelor of Art in Japanese, specialization in Japanese language.
Yeah. Wow. So why did you choose to learn Spanish?
Why do you choose
To learn this major?
this? I'm actually I'm interested in these
Ah,
majors because um, I'm I have already heard from my friends and seniors
ah,
um, in their companies. For example, HR is an important role, and also they can get their cost salary. So I
got it. Mm,
I
mm,
the
mm.
only tech thing, so I would like to try this major.
Okay. So, what are your goals of pursuing this global mini MBA program?
Sorry.
What is your goal? What is your purpose of pursuing this global mini MBA program?
After that, I would like to join full MBA course
Uh-huh.
at other countries. So
So this is your purpose of joining this course. Okay.
yeah,
So actually we have already started 1 week ago. We have already had the first learning day, and yesterday I sent learning materials and the course guidelines. So I hope that you can spend time reviewing that material at home to keep up with the other students in the class. So again, welcome you to the class, and I look forward to your valuable contribution from your perspective. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we will start our class now. So in our previous lesson, we take a look at the talent stewardship model, an approach ensuring that all HR activities are integrated and form a logical flow as the output from one step becomes the input to the next. So you can see that all phases supported by a culture of talent stewardship at the center of the model. These 5 components all need to be in place and reinforce each other to ensure that all HR activities add the highest value and contribute to a company's overall success. So in this session, we come to first phase of this model, acquire detailed operation scheme and related term in this particular area. Okay, so by the end of this session, you will be able to firstly grasp the strategic importance of HR planning. Secondly, understand the job analysis method and their role in HR management. Thirdly, learn to develop job description and job specification. Next, explore talent acquisition strategies linked to job analysis. And finally, assess and optimize recruitment effectiveness. So if we consider a candidate is the main element of this process, in brief, phase 1, acquire, can be seen as a series of hurdles to transform an individual from being a potential candidate to a company employee. So you can see that the first step, step 1, we focus and decide what positions to fill through HR planning and job analysis. Step 2, we will build a source of candidate for a job vacancy by recruiting internally or externally. The third step, we will have all the candidate complete application forms and undergo initial screening interview. Next, the company will use the selection tools like test, interview, background investigation, and physical exam to identify viable candidates. And the final step, the company will decide who to make an offer to by having the supervisor and related stakeholder. So to be more specific, we come back to this chart. I have already introduced to you this chart in our previous lesson. Now I would like to remind you of some crucial notes regarding this phase. So you can see that for the first element, identify, there are two specific objectives. Firstly, understand the current status of talent pipeline, or specifically, understand the business needs of the workforce, the demand side, and the availability of internal and external sources, the supply side. This objective will be achieved through HR planning. So secondly, determine company's strategic talent requirement, or in other words, job nature and job specification. So this objective will be achieved through job analysis. For the second element, place, the main objective is to ensure a sufficient talent pipeline for the short-term and the long-term business need, using a mix of activities to place the right people in the right job at the right time. So this objective will be achieved through talent acquisition activities. So in our previous lesson, we have mentioned BEST models, which stand for 6 elements of major influences existing outside of the company, namely politics, economic, social, technology, environment, and legal. So we have discussed the influences that each factor may place on the human resource management in general. Today, I would like you to deep dive into these factors, but for the specific HR function related to this phase, including HR planning and talent acquisition. So, in your opinion, what influences can the best elements exert on the HR planning, job analysis, and talent acquisition? Okay, maybe I will call some of you to share your ideas in the class. Okay, so Mr. Elias, what is your opinion?
Hello. Hello, Mr. Morning.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So
Now we come back to this slide. Okay, we have
yeah,
6 elements. Okay, we have 6 elements.
yeah.
And we have already discussed the influence of each element on the HR management in general. But today we talk about the HR planning. We talk about how we recruit people, how we plan the numbers of position, the numbers of vacancy we need to be filled. So in your opinion, how can these factors influence the recruitment activities, the HR planning, or the way you hire the candidate in the labor market?
Oh, so con- uh, contributing to my academic educations, like it can take many forms depending on our roles and expertise. So yeah.
Yeah. Someone talking, please mute your mic. It's Elias' turn to share his idea. Okay, so please continue, Mr. Elias.
Yeah. So firstly, I can tell about teaching and mentorship. So it's like become an educator so we can teach at school, college, or university to share knowledge with students.
Mm.
Yeah. So next is mentorship. Like we can guide students or junior academics in their learning and career development, and also like we can have a research and publications. So they are like academic support team like that. So we can conduct research and we can investigate new ideas, theory, and solution in their field. Yeah. So I also have to hold academic support role like 4 months, 4 months, about 4 months. Like I have to handle like published papers and events, peer reviews like that. It's like I have to evaluate and research to maintain academic integrity.
Mm. Okay, Mr. Elias, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I remember that you mentioned you are currently an English instructor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and tell me, does economic condition influence the job opportunity for the English instructor in your country, and in what way?
Mostly we have to support learning to students,
Uh-huh.
and we have to engage in education technology. Mostly I use with digital tools like I told in previous class. I about effective in technology in Asia. So I used to digital tools, AI platform to enhance learning since we have COVID situations and
Mm.
also our country situation. So I have to engage with education technology a lot, mostly from online.
Okay.
And yeah, and
I would like to to elaborate my questions. My question is that in case economic recession, when the unemployment rate is higher, or do you think that the condition of the economy will influence the percentage of having a job opportunity for the English instructor like you? Will it increase or decrease the job opportunities for you?
um I think for lifelong learning and professional development, I think we have like when we so the school or university hire the instructor, they used to look for our CV, and some people like to hire, like in my country they have to hold master degree or PhD to to teach in university,
Mm-hmm.
college, or school. So in case I have to study this major, because I would like to also I would like to improve my education skills so I can use in my CV form, and I have to improve myself
Mm-hmm.
to have a professional development of myself. So I think, yeah, participate in professional organization and formings will through advanced degrees and certificates. So so they have to they will increase the instructor if we have a higher improvements of our degrees. Yeah,
Okay. So thank you so much, Mr. Elias, for your sharing.
thank you.
Okay. So Mr. Samuel, what is your opinion? What influences do the Bestowed factors can influence the HR planning, the way we calculate the job opportunities for the company, the way we approach candidates, and the way we recruit employees. What is your opinion?
Okay, good morning, Mrs.
I
Sophia.
cannot see you. I cannot see you.
My room is dark. Can you
Yeah,
hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I cannot see you. Okay, just okay. So please share your opinion.
Okay. Good morning, Miss Sophia. Peptel influences HROM decision in recruitment. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay,
I can
first, I
hear
wanna
you. Yes, I can hear you.
first,
Please go ahead.
yes. Okay. When you talk about politics, the first P, the P, politics, the current tax will determine if the company have to recruit more labor force, sorry. And the political stability will also help the HR to consider recruiting or not recruiting. The government policies, all these trade policies, all these things centers on politics. How the government of a particular country runs determines how effective the company will be and how effective the HRM will work to actualize long-term and short-term goal of the organization. Now, I want to emphasize more on economic, tailoring it down to globalization. There is need to recruit more labor force when an organization wants to expand its products or its company. For example, you have a running business in Vietnam and you see it as a lucrative business in China. So you have to globalize. But for you to go to China, you need to check the labor force. You need to go to the right people, the talent that will help you establish a sustainable business in China. So what do? You seek out for job applicants. You advertise either in LinkedIn or any other platform where you can recruit talent. Then the globalization there, if you expand a business, if it is not working, that means you don't have the right labor. Before in the past, we think that capital is a bottleneck for a growing business. That should be in the past. And currently, it is not. The labor force has to be the bottleneck. So when you employ the right people to work for you, you will get the right result. But when you don't have the right labor force, is a zero in returns. So economic growth can actually help a HRM manager to recruit or even to dismiss an employee. The interest rate at which the company receives at every production will give an insight to see their performances in different departments. So with that, it can enable the HROM to seek, it will enable the line staff or line manager communicating with the HROM. I need a labor force. I need a talented person for this position. This is where we are lacking input and our output is very poor that we cannot continue. So the HROM will make an advert for a talent or a labor force that will help actualize that. If not, they will be on a pivot. So in dispensable income, where the income is high, that means there is actually a good output. The company is working and there's no need for them to recruit or hire when they are having a high income. Then checking the unemployment rates. If the organization sees that a particular is demography, both the from 18 to 30 something, their unemployment and this location a site table that product or this company can run and develop well and bring profit to the company, they can set up something and employ people to reduce the unemployment rate. But if there is a chances of this location, everybody there is employed, and your business is running there, there is no need to employ. All you need is the right labor force. All you need the right people to work with, people that can give you the results.
Okay. Okay, Mrs.
All of this.
Yeah. Continue.
All of this has to center in making profits, maximizing profits, making sure that your product is valuable in the society, and thereby having the right market channel.
Okay, Mr. Samuel, I remember that you previously you work in the banking industry, right? So from your observation, from your perspective, so what is your prediction on the job opportunity in the banking industry in the current time?
Currently, the bank doesn't need to employ more labor force, because the world is changing and the mode of operation is changing as well. We are advancing in technology. We are advancing in technology. So no much labor force is needed.
Oh, wow.
1 or 2, 3 persons can work in a bank. You just have to hire your engineer, your back-end engineer that will have to protect your server, your internet security from being hacked by cyber crimes individuals. So 1 or 2 persons is enough to run a banking industry. Just have your teller, have your customer service, and have your HRM, those in the back end. Everything is done. So due to the innovation of technology, it will take more work it will create more unemployment in the society.
Okay, so from your sharing, I noticed that you have mentioned the factors technology, and the technologies also influence the demand for the labor in the banking industry, given the advancement in technology and AI. So these factors can affect the number of human labor, and some machine or some technology can replace the current human labor. Okay, so thank you so much for your valuable opinion. I think that it's interesting to consider the job opportunity from the perspective of the job holders, and we understand the influences of these factors on the HR planning, the talent acquisition from the company perspective. Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel, for your sharing.
You're welcome, Ms. Sophia.
Okay, Mr. Heng, maybe it's the first time that we have met each other, because this is the first time in the class. So is it possible to talk right now?
Hi, Sophia. This is Francis. I'm using my Zoom ID over the phone. So I'm actually traveling on the road still, on the way home. I just landed. So
okay.
I just don't want to miss any timing. That's why I hopped into the class.
Okay, okay. So Mr. Francis,
yeah, nice to see everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I have received your email and I have replied. I understand your case, and thank you so much for your sharing your effort for joining class. So just have a safe trip and be back on the class when it's possible. Thank you, Mr. Francis. Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sophia. Yeah, I'll just sit in and listen while on the move, so that I don't miss a bit of anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And apologize for being disruptive.
Okay, it's okay. Accepted. Thank you. Okay, class. So, okay. So you can see that from the sharing of Mr. Elias and Mr. Samuel, Besto can have various influences. So I believe that the sharing from Mr. Samuel is pretty enough for us to understand the influences that the PESTEL element can exert on the HR planning and talent acquisition, mostly from our own perspective as the job holders. But I can share some clarification. Now, speaking of the political factors, for example, speaking of the political factors, for example, you can see that the government policies and regulation may affect labor laws, immigration. So they will influence the HR planning decision. The economic factors such as inflation, recession, or economic growth can affect budgeting for workforce expansion or contraction. Like Mr. Samuel has mentioned already, when the companies grow, they will have the higher demand of recruiting new people for their expansion. So for the social factors, you can see that changes in demographic, the cultural norms and society can influence the nature and the amount of tasks to be performed and the approach of talent acquisition initiative. For the demographic changes, the changes in birth and death rate or the increasing aging population can also influence the labor supply and multi-generational differences in job expectation. So we have already discussed and we agree that all PESTEL factors collectively contribute to the dynamic environment in which HR planning, job analysis, and talent acquisition take place, necessitating the adaptability and strategic foresight in the formulation and execution. Now, we will take a closer look at each element of the first phase respectively. Firstly, the identify and its related function, HR planning. Okay, so HR planning or human resource planning is the process of systematically reviewing HR requirements to ensure that the required numbers of people with required competency are available when needed. So the focus of HR planning is on labor demand, the numbers of people needed by the companies, and labor supply, the number of qualified people available to the company. So there are some basic questions need to be asked as presented on the slide. So based on the answer for the above questions, coupled with the need forecast and market analysis, the specific action can be taken to get the right numbers and types of people doing the right work at the right time. So effective HR planning is critical to business success because it matches the enterprise objective with its billable requirements. So HR planning systematically identifies what must be done to guarantee the availability of the workforce required by the business to meet its business objective. So the chart on the screen illustrates how the business strategies influence the goal of HR planning. For example, as the company grows, they will have a higher demand for their human capital and likely to recruit more people. However, when there is a recession, which involves downsizing or business scale or even shutdown, the HR leaders need to consider the status of current workforce. If surplus, they need to review their HR policy regarding permanent employment or outsourcing. So the business strategies influence HR planning and the way it is implemented in terms of analysis, action and expected outcome. So, in your opinion, what are some consequences? What are some potential outcomes if the HR planning is not conducted or carried out or fails to implement it? What consequences do you predict? Mr. Danny, what is your opinion? Mr. Danny, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I can hear you.
Okay, so what is your opinion?
Okay, so I think when HR planning is not carried out, well, there's going to be ineffective workforce utilization. That means no matter the number of people you are going to employ, you won't get the exact results of what you are going to you're expecting, because without a clear plan, organization may end up using a lot of resources to get a very small result, which is going to be very bad for the company. And I also think there's also going to be compliance risks, which means whatever that the company is working towards to, they are going to risk getting involved in a lot of labor laws and regulations, exposing their organization to legal risks and fines and other damages that they are going to lose money in the company.
Thank you so much for your opinion. That's a great point to see that if the plan is not clear enough, if we cannot have the appropriate HR planning, we may end up wasting a lot of resources, but the result we receive is not expected.
Yeah,
It's not as
very
expected.
less. Yes,
Okay, so thank you so much for your opinion.
thank you.
Okay, so Miss Kim, what is your opinion?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Teacher, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
For my opinions, Asia is when Asia planning is not carried out of field, it can damage in inefficient recruitment, and hiring also can be delayed. It's like organization might also miss out on top talent due to poor workforce forecasting, and also poor HR planning leads to inefficiencies like reducing profitability and competitiveness, and also applying dissatisfaction on high attrition impairs for customer service or innovations. Yes, in my opinion, I think HR planning is essential for maintaining workforce stability and legal compliance and business success.
I heard that you mentioned the inappropriate planning can lead to the delay recruitment. So could you please give me an example? In what way the inappropriate HR planning can lead to the delayed recruitment in the organization?
For example, hospital or hotel in that industry without poor workforce planning might face a sudden shortage. For example, in hospital, when without proper workforce planning might face sudden shortage of nurses. It can force to be in patients. Like every business, if not enough employee, only business can be damaged, in my opinion.
Okay. So thank you so much for your sharing. Okay. So
Yes.
yeah, thank you so much, Miss Kim.
Yes.
Mr. Samuel, I have your message here, they will be collapsed on organizational long-term role, not getting the exact result intended. So could you please elaborate on this point?
Actually, I meant long-term goal, no rule. Long-term goal.
A
You know,
long-term goal. Okay, a
Yeah,
long-term goal.
sorry, it's a typo error.
Okay.
So when HRM planning is not carried out, it will obstruct transactions a lot, because you are looking at a qualified, you are looking for a talent. You need a higher, let's just say, you need your labor force to be strong for you to achieve results. And HRM came up with, we need to recruit talents. And these are the things we need so that we'll get the right talent for this particular job. And haven't emphasized more on getting talent, and the organization is paying deaf ear to it. They will not achieve anything. Assuming that the economy of that organization is, the GDP is going down, is decreasing, they need to level up. And leveling up, they need someone at the helm of the affair, someone to stand on the gap to get the right result for them. And HRM is emphasizing on, let's recruit, let's fill this gap. This is the person that will do this. This is the person that will give us the actual result. And the organization or the board of directors are paying deaf ears. They will not have their goal achieved. There will be a collapse in objective. The said objective to be actualized in 2 years or in 3 years will not be met, because the right information being given out is not implemented. So for the organization to have a good structure, they have to listen to the HRM. His planning, his objective, or outline things to do. They need to scrutinize it and see if it is worth doing. And if it is worth doing, they need to implement it. They need to go for it. If they don't go for it, the work will collapse. The result will not be met. That is what I meant by organizational long-term goal will collapse by not getting the intended results. Because every organization has a target. And your target has to be met with the labor force.
Okay, so thank you so much for your opinion. Your example really illustrates your point, and I like how you connect the role of the human labor, the people workforce, to the business goal. And we all agree that human resource is key to business, and this is the method that the company utilized to achieve the long-term business goal. And if the HR cannot carry out the appropriate HR planning, it will influence significantly to the business outcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Emmanuel, what is your opinion?
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
So this is the first time that we have met each other, right? So
yeah, this is my first time.
Yeah. So actually, we have two Mr. Emmanuel in our class. So how can I call your name correctly and distinguish from the other Mr. Emmanuel?
Perhaps you can call me Chibuzo.
Tibuzo Emmanuel. Okay, so I will call you Mr. Tibuzo Emmanuel. Okay, so introduce yourself a bit. So what is your current occupation? What is your learning expectation? And what is your opinion on this question?
Okay, I'm Oduku Emmanuel. I'm currently an attorney. I'm a lawyer. My learning expectations from this course is to think out how organizational structures and human component of HR can be better optimized to ensure productivity in an organization. I'm more interested in the human aspect, the personal aspect of HR. Yeah.
So in the past, have you ever overseen the people related matters, or have you ever managed a group of team members?
I wouldn't say it's a team per se, but as a lawyer, you have day-to-day interface and interactions with clients and diverse individuals, handling their problems and trying to find solutions to their problems. So, and in the sense, most times I've had the opportunity of coaching and mentoring junior associates. So if that can be said to be a team too. So most times you have to pilot and guide and give them tasks and hold meetings, trying to guide them on how to file briefs and how to go about getting resources and interfacing with courts and various organizations and institutions.
So you mentioned that as a lawyer, you had an opportunity to deal with people-related matters, and also have the opportunity to coach and mentor your associate. So from your perspective, what are key personalities that the person who in charge of the people-related matter need to possess to be successful?
To be in charge, you have to be a good listener first. Yeah, you have to listen and be able to assimilate information. As a lawyer, you are trained to assimilate multitudes of information. People come in with unfiltered information that is unstructured. So you listen, digest, and it's your task to now distill and filter and make out sense from the multitude of information that they present. You are the one that will have to now structure whatever it is that they present to you to make it a bit understandable and to understand and to filter out what you will now have to work on. So in that sense, you have to be a good listener, a keen observer, and a good organizer.
Wow. Oh, interesting. So where are you from?
I'm from Nigeria.
Okay. So what is your opinion on this question? What are consequences that the HR planning, if the HR planning is not conducted correctly, what are consequences to the organization?
It can be summarized in with one quote which said that the failure to plan is failing to plan is planning to fail. Yeah, so essentially, when in an organization you fail to organize and plan your human resources adequately, for me, I think it leads to a shoddy performance and output from the organization, because our organization has to be planned adequately, effectively, and organized in such a way that every individual or every department knows their duty, their responsibility, their tasks, and the goals and expectations and expectations of them. So when these are not clearly defined and well set out, I think probably most of the departments and individuals will be working on at cross purposes, everyone being active and busy without being productive. So I think it limits productivity when the goals and the objective of the organization is not well defined and individuals don't know what they are targeting and what their work is meant to achieve. So I think HR planning gives a sense of direction Let me put it that way. It gives a sense of direction and purpose to the organization, and it also structures the organization. So everyone works towards achieving the same purpose. That is the growth and improvement of the business.
Okay, so thank you so much for your insightful clarification. I agree. Yeah, I love the quote that you have mentioned. So, fail to plan means plan to fail. Okay, so the HR planning is the starting point. So if we have a clear picture, if we have the clear objective at the right beginning, we will be able to be on track and will be able to utilize all of the resources to achieve our predetermined goal and objective. Okay, so speaking of the HR planning, you can see that the effective HR planning ensure that the availability of talent is correctly allocated, the labor costs are controlled, the employee headcount is appropriate, and like all of you have mentioned, the key productivity. The productivity will be improved and talented employees are retained if we have the appropriate and suitable HR planning. So when HR planning is not carried out or fail to be implemented, the labor imbalances will happen and it takes a heavy toll on both enterprises and the employees' benefit, such as some listed on the screen. Now we come to the first step of the HR planning, the analysis. So the HR manager needs to be able to predict the company future HR requirement and determine from where they will be obtained. 3 sets of forecasts include demand side, internal and external supply. So these forecasts seek to anticipate shift in a company workforce requirement shaped by its business goal, demand for product and services, expected employee turnover, workforce quality and availability, technological development, financial capability, and the broader economic landscape. Since HR forecast is not a precise science, the companies often rely on a mix of techniques to obtain a well-rounded perspective. The 2 primary methods for HR forecasting are quantitative and qualitative approaches. So you can see that the
Recording in progress.
Oh, sorry. Please mute your mic. Okay, so please mute your mic. Okay. Okay, so the quantitative approach uses statistical and mathematical techniques to primarily used by HR professionals. This approach sees employees as numerical entities and group them according to specific criteria. The focus is on forecasting HR shortage, surplus, and career blockages, aiming to reconcile the supply and the demand side given the company's strategic objectives. So the main techniques include change projection, econometric modeling, and multiple predictive techniques, and often require specialized know-how. The second approach, the qualitative approach, uses expert opinion to predict the future. The focus is on evaluation of employee performance and promotability, as well as management and career development. So although this approach is not as sophisticated as the quantitative one, but it's popular because it's simple, cheap, and fast. So to give you a big picture, this slide provides a quick reference listing on method for supply and demand forecasting, both qualitative and quantitative. due to time constraint and the importance of covering all the key learning content, we won't dive into the details of each method in class. So among the various techniques, one of the most commonly used method for forecasting the internal supply is the replacement charge. So as shown on the slide, the personnel replacement charge track current employees, their performance, and promotability for key positions. In this example, it focuses on division vice president. So internal candidates for this role can come from various departments such as sales, production, and finance. Okay, so if you have an interest in this method, you can refer it at home and study more. In the class, I need to reiterate that this course is tailored more for non-HR managers rather than future HR practitioners. Therefore, I will skip the more technical HR content to allow more time for our case study. So if you are interested, feel free to study this section outside of the class. And if you have any additional question, don't hesitate to reach me via email. So the second part of the HR planning is creating an action plan. The HR planning should logically lead to an action plan that addresses identified gaps between the workforce supply and demand. So this plan outline the projected workforce variances, whether it's a surplus, shortage, or no gap, guiding the design of staffing strategy accordingly. So you can see that the staffing plan should specify first the position to be filled, secondly the potential internal and external talent resources, thirdly the necessary training and promotion activities, as well as the resources required for successful implementation. So the second part of the first element, identify, is determine the company's strategic talent requirement through job analysis, and we are now analyzing this function. So job analysis is the process of identifying the duties of a position and qualification needed for the person filling it. This process generates key information used to create job description, detailing job responsibility and job specification, which outline the qualification required for the role. So I guess that if you have the work experience before, you are likely familiar with the job description. And this lesson aims to clarify the core elements of the job description and highlight the difference from the job description with the job specification, which are often confused or used interchangeably. So the research showed that every HR action, such as interviewing, training, and performance evaluation, relies on a clear understanding of what the job involves and the requirements needed to perform it effectively. So the information collected via job analysis, we can see that the supervisor or HR specialist usually gathers the following type of information through job analysis, including first, work activities, for example, the detail of the task, along with how, why, and when these tasks are performed. Secondly, the human behavior. For example, the information on the behavior required for the job, such as communication, and sensory requirement. Like the question I have asked Mr. Chibuzo Emmanuel before. As a person in charge of the pupil-related matters, what personality are key to be successful? So the job analysis will provide the information on the behavior or any requirement, any personality that the job holder need to possess to be successful in this role. Thirdly, the machine, tools, and equipment. For example, the data on the tools and the equipment used, material handled, knowledge applied, and services provided. Next, we come to the performance standard. Performance standard like the expectation for job performance in terms of quality and quantity. The job context include information on working condition, schedule, incentive, typical number of interaction with other people. And finally, human requirement. The qualifications such as education, training, work experience, and personal attribute like skill, personality, and interest needed for the role. Okay, so with an understanding of what kind of information can gather through job analysis, could you list down some application of job analysis for HR function? So we can see that the product of job analysis are some information like this one. This one. Okay. So tell me, what kind of what HR function use this information and in what way? What is your opinion, Mr. Emmanuel Onegubu? Sorry, I cannot pronounce your name correctly.
All right, thank you very much. Yep.
Yeah,
greetings.
I can hear you. Okay, so the question is that what is the application of the information gathered through job analysis can be used in the various HR function, from your opinion?
Okay, in the HR function, this job analysis has to do with human behavior or human profiling generally, because this is where DEI as a tool also come in. The DEI by diversity, equality, and inclusion. Yeah, so this is where it becomes very useful for a HR. So generally, it's all about giving equal platform to everybody, irrespective of your race, irrespective of your gender, irrespective of whatever human status. So I think that's one tool I know. Job analysis would come very handy or be of importance for a HR.
Okay, so in your opinion, all this information can be used in the recruitment activity when hiring a candidate or choosing the candidate for the specific position, and in what way?
Yeah, the role job analysis, this very contents would be very useful, is to understand or the kind of person you are bringing into the organization, the general profiling, if where the person is coming from, if the person has a good history, if the person would not tarnish the image of the organization, if the person is qualified for that role, if whatever the person poses to maybe the person's qualification, CV, profile, if it fits the job specification. So I think this is where the job analysis tool becomes very, very important.
Okay, you have mentioned about the CV, and I guess from your work experience, at least one time that you have applied for the specific position, and that means that you have to read the job description to understand about the roles, about the job position. Okay, so tell me, there are a lot of information in the job description, but which part of the job description you will by clear a main focus on, you will be focus on this information. What specific section of the job description will you focus when you want to analyze the job position?
The role.
The role.
The specific role, yeah, the specific role of the applicant or what the job requires. I think those keywords that the recruiter is looking for, if you qualify or if you fall into those keywords they are looking for.
Okay, so you pay attention to the role, the information related to the role. So
role, yes.
Yeah. So how can you increase the percentage of your CV in the job application compared to other candidates? How can you increase the possibility of your CV to be chosen?
By optimizing your CV to fit in the role, or by
Yeah.
optimizing your CV to fit into the role.
Yeah, correct.
That's why I talked about those keywords. If they say they're looking for maybe someone who has knowledge of technical aspect of coding. If you're looking for someone who understands React, or someone who understands Java, someone who understands or who has a knowledge of some AI tools. So this is where you optimize your CV to say, okay, I know how to use Microsoft Azure. I know how to use Microsoft Active Directory. I know how to use Linear, Jira, Trello, whatever tech stack the company is. So this is where you optimize your CV into what they are looking for. That's how you can double up and juggle the job description.
Okay. So thank you so much for your insightful opinion, Mr. Emmanuel. Okay. Actually, from the perspective of job holders, it is very important that we have a clear mindset and understand correctly about the role and what the HR or what the companies look for. This is a common mistake that many job applicants create a CV to apply for own position without noticing the keyword from the job description. So it is essential for us to, like Mr. Emmanuel had mentioned, to analyze the keyword in the job description and to adjust our CV to match the requirement and to optimize our CV. So it will be possible for us to optimize and increase the possibility to be chosen. So thank you.
I have one question. When applying for jobs or maybe on their portal for application, one would usually see what this very question that really throws an application of balance.
Sorry, Mr. Emmanuel, I cannot hear you clearly. There are some.
Hold on. Okay, I said when you check at some application portals, you find out there is this particular question that always off balance when they will ask what is your required salary. So as an experienced HR, what do you feel, what do you expect from such questions?
Sorry, there are some interruption from your sharing and I cannot hear you clearly now. Could you please type your question on the chat box instead? I cannot hear you now.
I'll put that on.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe in the meantime, while we are waiting for the question to be typed by Mr. Emmanuel, I could like to listen more from Mr. Francis. Is it possible to talk right now?
Hey, hi,
Okay.
hi, Miss Sophie. Sophie,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Is
Sophie.
yeah,
Okay.
hi.
So
Yeah,
please,
back, yeah.
please introduce yourself to the class about your current occupation and the learning expectation, as well as sharing your ideas on this question also.
Okay, yeah. So there are three parts to it. Okay, first I'll just start with my introduction of myself. Okay, my name is Francis. My surname is Yo. I'm a Singaporean. Nice to meet everybody here. So yeah, so I just left the what do you call it, the corporate world, and then I came out to set up a business on myself.
Wow.
Yeah. Due to some relationship with the customer in Ethiopia, Africa. Basically, I mean, in the class there are some Africans counterpart, I believe from Nigeria. So maybe we can do some networking as well later on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a brief introduction of myself. And I spent a very good 13 years in the military. So if you all know that Singaporean, we have this conscript army. Every male at the age of 18 and above, they have to spend 2 years in the army. But for my case, I joined the army, so I'm a regular. So yeah, so I stayed with the army for about 13 years, and then I left the force. I went over to Abu Dhabi, which is UAE, United Emirates.
Wow.
Yeah, Arabs. So I spent there for 5 years and subsequently built up my network, and I came out to do something for myself as well as my partner. So currently I'm just like 2 months old. This new company is already 2 months old with my partner. Yes. So that's about me. Okay, the second thing, the second part to the question is the expectation of this class or lessons per se. Human resource management is always constantly in our life, especially in the workforce, even in the military or even in the classroom. Because as a monitor or as a prefect or whatever in the class, the teacher always choose the right person to lead in a small group or whatever. So I mean, for me, I in terms of digital transformation that we all know about it, for HR, I think now we are into another era where we don't go by the traditional, okay, you are suitable, we don't have much data, it's only about human relationship. So I choose you and I want you to be the leader and you're outspoken and you do that. But currently right now in human resources, we are talking about data mining. We are talking about, we really need to understand in and out what is this person all about. Like, then the next question then it will be related to the job analysis as well. So so this is the I mean, I hope that I can, learn something in this lesson more about the digital transformation of HR. Like what kind of tools, the digital tools that we have, the AI tools that we have to actually select a person suitable for a job or to lead this project or come in very handy for the operation of the project. So I hope that I will be able to take something out from there instead of those traditional HR. Okay, so yeah, the third question is related to this job analysis. I think my second question also related to the third question. So based on this, I hope that I have the tools, the right tools, and it will help the HR functions in terms of recruitment and selection. Meaning to say that, in a company, we have not only like finance, we also have payroll, we also have sales, business development, and we also have like operations. So in this job analysis, it helped the HR, not only the HR, also the strategic perspective of the company, whether when I have the job description, when I have the job specification, what are the keywords which one of our colleagues have mentioned, to look for these keywords that it can fill up this job JD or the personality of this job specification that he has to fill in that role. So that I would say, in other words, a screening criteria. So I can choose a person suitable for this role and this job. And not only that, human resource is a major asset to the company. While I choose this person because after interview, I find him suitable. But the most important thing, what is next for him in 5 years, in 10 years? So these are the things that I would describe it as training and development. A company has to build, human, and we need to have. Although yes, there's this turnaround rate. I don't want to talk about retrenchment. I don't want to talk about stability. I will talk about, maybe the company is growing. So yeah, we need more people, and then these more people, hopefully out of 10, I will find the next future COO, the chief operation from the 10. So these are the training and development that we need to see as this HR function. As a CHRO or a HR manager, probably I get a person to fill up this role immediately to help the company. Then also strategically, I need to see any performance or any any how to say, any what do you call that, skills gap that this person or this employee has, so that we can develop him further to take up a higher position. So I hope that I answer all the questions for the job analysis. It's based on experience, that's all.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Francis, for your sharing. Actually, I think that but the perspective on the role of the job analysis placed on the training development is really a good point. It means that we use the job analysis not only for the information when we want to hire somebody, but it is especially essential when we use it as a starting point to develop a human labor, a employee in the company. So the job analysis tell us about the requirements of the job position. So the candidate can use it as the requirement that they need to possess to be able to climb up the career ladder. So in order to in order to assume the role in the future, what kind of competency, what kind of knowledge, skill, and attitude they need to possess to be successful in this role. And from the company perspective, it is essential that we have the clear requirements of the job position to develop people, to have the clear pathway for them to understand and to have the to draft their own individual development plan. Thank you so much for your sharing. But I have just one question. That I heard that you have spent 13 years working in the ministry, and now
military, in the army.
You change your career pathway to run your own business. So tell me, what motivated you to make this decision? I think that it is a big decision when you change your career pathway.
Decision I would say is based on the connections that I have. Okay, to be very frank, I'm not sure whether I will be able to answer this question. Is quite complicated in the sense that because the growth of myself.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was in the army, so subsequently I started as a very, very small position it's like we call it sergeant, all these things. Then subsequently, because I want to further my study, I excel in the military, so I went to become an officer. And in an officer, you will know a lot of cream of the crops, you know a lot of good people in the army. And these good people in the army, they are intelligent and they are outspoken and they do a lot of network. So I'm in that group after a few years in the army. So when I joined that group, I networked, and one of the head of the army who recognized my effort and my talent, and he left the force. He left the force and he went over to UAE to work in a corporate world. I'm not sure anybody know about this very powerful company. Belongs to a sheikh called G42 in UAE. It's a very popular company. It's a very famous company. So he went over there and then he came and looked for me. Don't stay in the army. You already learn enough of leadership, because in the army it's all about leadership. Yeah, it's all about leadership, how to lead people, how to protect the country. Of course, I learned a lot of things and a lot of skills from being a military person. I learned how to protect my family as well. A small little thing, how to be disciplined. That's the most important thing in the military. From there, it's like someone who sees something in me, and he went over to UAE and he poached me over to UAE to work for him. So that's the inspiration that I actually have, the opportunity that I have. So basically, if I don't know this chief army, I basically I will still stay in the military. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a kind of it's a growth, knowing people and people seeing you that, oh, maybe during that opportunity, during that time, he needs someone to help him in UAE. That's why he pulled me up there with the opportunity. And from there, I find that, so after the military world, then I went to the corporate world. I try to see that, actually what I learned in the army can also apply to the corporate world. Meaning to say, it's all about human relationship. It's all about handling human, because to face the fact we cannot run away in our daily life, even in our job, even if you are an engineer, all right? You are just in a computer, you still need advice from someone. You still need to collect data. You still need to say that, hey, can you run this quality for me? Because there's a series of process. It's all about human, right? He can sit one corner and do his coding, but eventually, when it comes to quality assessment or user acceptance to give to the customer to accept it, they have to go to the next stage. And he has to be there to answer question and to ask intelligent question and to also answer as well. So we cannot deny that it's all about human being. Yeah. So yeah, one good thing about me is that I'm in the army. I see a lot of people, different people in my life. In the army, you can see different kind of people, the rich, the poor, the gangster, highly educated. And because of that, I think, I have the upper hand to know how to handle human when I go to the corporate world. So that's about me. So basically, back to the question, I hope I answer your question. What makes me transform is because of one, I'm blessed. There's one person who sees something in me and he brought me over. And from there, I developed, and he also know that, he cannot keep me for long. And I have my own network, as the network meaning to say I have my own customer base. That's why I came out with one of my partner to set up a small company and to serve this customer. So that's about my life journey.
Thank you so much, Mr. Francis, for your informative sharing. I think that everything happened for a reason, and the need for growth is one of the most common motivation that there's sometimes that we need to make a very big decision, and it transforms our life a lot. But no matter what the decision were, I wish you all the best in your new career pathway, and I hope that the information or anything that I can convey in the class will contribute in some way that you will be able to handle your job effectively in the future. And after the class complete, if you have any question or any assistance, just feel free to reach me out. I'm more than happy to help. Thank you so much, Mr. Francis.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, so back to Mr. Emmanuel question. Oh, wow, this is an interesting question. What is your required salary? I think that is a very common question in any interview. So tell me about your experience, Mr. Emmanuel. Why do you think that changing the way we answer this question will be important in the interview? Why do you ask this question? And what was your experience?
No, I'm asking because as a head, you as an experienced head, sometimes when you're filling an application, you would see the question like, what is your required? Aside sometimes when they give job descriptions, they
Mr.
outline.
Mr. Emmanuel, the connection is bad because I cannot hear you well.
Can you hear me now? Can you
Yeah.
hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, but the voice is changing a lot. So I will try my best to listen to you. So please.
Okay. I mean, sometimes when you as an experienced HR, what do you expect from an applicant? Say sometimes I filling form on a job portal. This question often comes when they ask, what is your desired salary? As an HR, what do you expect from this question? What do you expect? What kind of answer do you expect? Some job descriptions, they state the salary structure. Yeah, but some don't state it. So what do you expect from an applicant filling such a questionnaire?
Okay. So I cannot hear you well, but I can guess the keyword from your sharing that what is the HR expectation on this question? What we as an HR practitioner expect from the candidate to answer to have the answer. Okay, so before I share my perspective, anyone can help me with the question from Mr. Emmanuel. So pretending that you are an HR, you are an interviewer. What is your expectation from the answer of the interviewee? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Francis, please share your opinion.
Okay, yeah, I mean, this is a very tricky question. It's not only from the what do you call that, the CV itself, especially interview, and most of the time, if you ask the job applicant and say, what is any question that you have, he will definitely ask, when can I fit in the role, where can I join, what is my ammunition, what is my allowance, what is etc. So this is the question that HR will definitely have to answer. It cannot run away. So I think there's this database in the internet. I think there's things like Glassdoor.
Glassdoor, yeah.
Yes, something like that. There's always a range, like, okay, for example, what is the salary range for a sales engineer or sales manager? He will give you a range, for even yearly, 2025, 2024, or whatever, or different.
Yeah.
So maybe based on that, we can actually have a range, and we also can tell him, we can also redirect a question to him, like, in our company, what's so competitive of our company and what are we offering that the other companies are not offering? Meaning to say, we offer more vacation leave, to entice this new employee to join us, and there are more growth opportunity, something like that along the line. I mean, the data are all in the net. I hope my answer makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I usually go to Glassdoor to get that, or sometimes you see it on Indeed.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah, but I was thinking, Sophia would have a different answer altogether, so that I really fit into an experienced HR's perspective. Thank you, Francis.
No problem. Yes.
Mr. Emmanuel, this is my perspective as an HR. Okay, so from the sharing of Mr. Francis, I agree that researching the salary range for the specific position can be a very good starting point, so you can have the clear idea of the maximum rate of this position. From an HR, we need the candidate to be very realistic about the salary range they expect, and provided that they can give us the explanation, they can persuade us on the benefit we can receive if we decide to hire this candidate. We can adjust the salary range provided that it fit in our budget. Okay, so maybe the salary range, we have the minimum rate and the maximum rate, but it depends on your explanation. It depends on the way you show up your ability and the matching between your ability and the requirements of the job position. So be very realistic about the salary range, but also be very confident in your ability and how you can contribute to the company if you assume this role. So my advice for you when join in the interview and to be well prepared for this question is that you need to answer and very clear about the match between your ability and the key requirements of this position. Provided that you make a clear connection, we can adjust the salary range for you, and the negotiation will be the win-win situation. Okay, yeah. Okay, so do you have any comments or any adding information? Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel. Okay, I noticed that Mr. Samuel said that is it right to state the salary range when asked? Okay, so anyone can share your ideas on the question of Mr. Samuel?
Yeah, I try.
Yeah, okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's appropriate to definitely be truthful to tell the candidate about the salary range, because you have your old staff in a company, right? You cannot hire someone whose salary is more than your staff, your working staff right now. And you also cannot, give him a lower range that is not according to the market rate. So what I want to say is that because we have staff in the company, maybe it's a project manager role, and we are hiring another project manager role to fill an operation projects. So I cannot give him something like higher than what my staff is having right now. So I need to give him a range, and we need to tell him our grade as well. For example, if you work 1 year, there will be an increment, that kind of thing, so that he understood what he is going to achieve in 1 year time, in second year time, or in third year time. And I pay you in salary because I pay your time. But if you do well, then I'll give you more bonus, that kind of thing, so that he's actually aware of the company culture. I think that's very, very important. Yeah.
So thank you so much, Mr. Francis. So Ms. Olajolo, I noticed that you raised your hand. So please share your opinion and your response to this question.
Good morning, sir. I actually had a question, but I feel like Mr. Francis kind of like touched the question. Okay, so my question basically was that, okay, so if I see a job that I really want to apply for, but and they ask me, oh, what's my salary expectation? And I tell them, okay, so for example, let's say I'm earning $1,500 every month, and I want to apply for my same role in another company. And I think the role is get a 5% increment when applying for another job in another company. Like you have to increase. So if they ask me, oh, what's my budget? Like what's my salary expectation? Do I tell them, oh, my salary expectation is this amount? What if it's lower than what their salary range is? How do I fit into that situation? I don't know if you understand my question.
Okay, so we have another question from Ms. Olajolo. Okay, so okay, so Mr. Emmanuel, please share your opinion. Okay.
All right. I think how it works is this. Over the years of experience, how it works is this: the company you're applying for, even before you start applying, you should know their salary structure for that particular role. You get, so they wouldn't shift or upscale to more than what you were earning from your previous company, unless sometimes it depends on the quality of the quality you are bringing. It depends on the service you're coming to give the company. If
you are not coming to maximize profit for them, automatically it won't work. They won't want to upscale for you. So how it works is most, like, what they will pay, what Pepsi, for instance, what Pepsi would pay their sales manager in Vietnam is different from what Pepsi would pay their sales manager in Nigeria. So this is how it works. So even before you start applying for a role, you should check their salary range for that particular role in that particular country. So that's how it works. Unless on referral, or unless the HR is insisting that the company employs you based on the quality of service you are coming to bring in. If it's not going to maximize their business profit and meet their business goal, it won't work. Like last week, I was telling us that I experienced something. I applied after the first interview. They now asked me to, they now scheduled another interview with the HR of the company. A few minutes to the interview, after waiting for a few days for that very interview, few minutes to the just a minute to the interview, I received an email. They ghosted me. They ghosted me. There was a technical glitch, blah, blah, blah. Till today, I wrote to them, no. So you find out that it's either there's been a change or somebody else who would bring value to that company or that role. It happens. And when you go to LinkedIn, you hear testimonials of people saying that recruiters ghosted them. So that's just what it is. No two ways about it. I believe I've done justice. Someone else can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel, for sharing your previous experience when applying for a job. Okay, Mr. Samuel, I noticed that you raised your hand. Anything to share more?
Yeah, actually, Mr. Emmanuel has done justice to that, but I want to point out something.
Okay.
Most organizations, when they are advertising for a vacancy, it is your duty as a candidate to make findings about how much they pay, their salary scale. Just as Emmanuel said, when you want an upscale, there is something significant that you are bringing to the organization that will lead to the increment in salary for you. So when I asked my question, is it right to state your salary range? I was expecting, and Mr. Francis answered and said it is true to state so that the company will know their financial state if they are to, if what they are paying their current employee is below or higher than your own. That is when they will consider hiring you. But in different experiences I've had, it is said that you are not to speak. You are not to speak of the range. Rather, you tell the HR that he or she can pay based on their organizational salary scale. All right. So now Miss Olajolo is asking, she has a job for a particular role. She's earning $1,500 and she's applying for another role in another company and she's expecting a 5% increment. Now, if you don't have a survey or underground study about their salary scale, you cannot be demanding extra. And most of them, they don't state it. So you don't know. You wouldn't tell. That is why you need to ask questions during interview. If you now ask the question and they gave you the right answer, it is now left for you to consider or reconsider taking the job or going back to your old one. So what that means is you need to ask questions to have the right information. If you can deal with it, fine. If you cannot, okay, you retreat. So that's what I'm pointing out is some organizations don't state clearly what they pay. It is when you ask that they will answer you. Why some do? Those that do is a bigger firm. They state it in their job, your benefits, what you stand to benefit. After some months, after like 6 months probation, after the spell of that probation, your salary will be upscaled to 5% or 10% with other benefits. So this is how it works. You don't expect 5% increment from your previous. Rather, you deal with what the company pays. You deal with their own salary scale. If it's good for you, fine. If it is not, you retreat, you give up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Samuel, for your opinion. Actually, class, I'm really appreciate your question and sharing your different perspective in the question from your classmate. And I believe that your insightful perspective will help our class have the well-rounded perspective on the matter of the interview. I really appreciate it. I hope that you continue your enthusiasm in asking and answering questions in the following lesson. Okay, so back to the question of Mr. Samuel. My point is that it depends. You are not required to share your current salary. Actually, basically, you are not required, and the interviewer or the recruiter cannot force you to share this information unless you are comfortable with sharing. But in some cases, it is suggested that we are as the interviewee and the interviewer very straightforward about the salary range. We need to be on the same page on this matter to shorten the recruitment process and to save our time. So if you are very clear about your salary expectation, you can share with them your current salary rate and your expectation on the salary increase. So as I mentioned earlier, provided that you can prove your value, you can show up your skill, your ability, your competency, you can prove the match between your ability and the requirements of the position and how you can contribute to the company's business success. The interviewer will have enough information to consider, to take this information into account before they decide to increase or change your salary range, provided that the salary they offer you is still in the budget. Okay, so I cannot give you the fixed answer for this question, and it depends on you, on the situation, and on the interviewer. Okay, so I think that be flexible. And yeah, Mr. Samuel had mentioned the very good point. We need to ask a lot of information. So based on the answer from the interviewer and the information you got from the website about the salary range, about the position, you will have in the good condition to make a decision. Okay? Yeah, okay. So thank you so much for your energetic participation in the discussion, and I'm again really appreciate your question and sharing your perspective, and feel free to share. Okay, so it's no right or wrong answer in my class, and I'm willing to listen to your opinion. Okay, so I think that we need to take a break now, so please have a short 15-minute break and come back at 5 to 11. Okay, so thank you so much and see you after the break. Okay, class, welcome back. So before the break, we have discussed about the application of the job analysis for various kind of HR function, and I really appreciate your question regarding the interview. And in the afternoon section, we will deep dive on some of the interview techniques and some note for you when join in the interview as an interviewer and also the interviewee. Okay. So you can see that the chart highlights the significance of job analysis as the managers rely on it to guide the HRM activities. Firstly, recruitment and selection. So knowing the duties and required characteristics for a job will help the managers to identify the right candidate to hire. Secondly, the EEO compliance. EEO stands for Equal Employment Opportunities. The job analysis ensure HR practices are valid, such as determining essential job function to comply with. Thirdly, the performance appraisal. Managers use job analysis to define duties and standards for comparing employee performance against expectation. Next, we come to compensation or the job evaluation, wage and salary decision. So pay decisions are based on factors like required skill, responsibility, working condition, all of which are determined through job analysis. So as mentioned earlier in our discussion, to deal with the question related to salary effectively, it is very important that you have research the salary range before. You can use some common website like Indeed or Glassdoor, like Mr. Francis and Mr. Emmanuel has mentioned earlier. And you need to be very clear about your expectation on salary increase, and the expectation need to be based on the match between your ability and the requirements of the job position. And for the training and development, like Mr. Francis has mentioned earlier, the job analysis and its product, the job description, highlight the duties and necessary skills, so it can make a large contribution to guide the development of training programs to meet the requirements of the target position. Some method for collecting job analysis information include the interview. The interview can range from the open-ended question like tell me about your job and related tasks to highly structured with specific tasks to check off and can be conducted individually with employees, in group of employees doing the same job, or with supervisors familiar with the job. The second method is questionnaire. The questionnaire is one of the most common method for gathering job analysis data. The structured questionnaire may ask employee to indicate if they perform specific tasks and how much time they spend on them, or open-ended question may ask for a description of major job duties. The next method is observation. Observing workers during a full work cycle allows for direct note-taking of all activities performed, providing real-time data on job duties. And finally, participant diary. The workers are asked to keep a diary of their daily task, recording each activity and the time spent. As you can see, this slide outlines the 6 steps in conducting a job analysis. Here are a few important points to note. Firstly, collaboration is key. So ensure the process is a joint effort between the HR managers, workers, and the supervisor. The supervisor and employees should review and confirm the list of job duties to ensure that the information collected is practical. Secondly, the clarity is essential. Make sure both question and job analysis process are clear to employees, especially the purpose of doing this to avoid any misunderstanding. Finally, use multiple methods. It is recommended to use at least 2 methods for gathering job analysis data, such as interviews and questionnaire or observation, to ensure accuracy and completeness. As you may aware that each method like interview or questionnaire or observation will have both the advantages and disadvantages regarding to time, resource use, and the correct information gathered. So it is better to combine at least 2 methods to ensure that the information we collect is correct and well-rounded. So the primary outcome of job analysis is the job description, a written statement detailing what the worker does, how they do it, and the working condition involved. Actually, there is no standard format for writing a JD. However, most description contain sections that cover job identification, job summary, responsibility and duties, which we need to pay the special focus on authority and relationship, standards of performance, working condition. So when making hiring decision, HR and managers typically focus on the best fit for the role rather than simply selecting the most outstanding candidate. So the key word is best fit. That's the reason why in the previous discussion, I reiterate the match between the requirements of the job position and your ability, provided that you can show the clear connection, you will be able to negotiate a higher salary range. So the successful applicant tailor their application to highlight how their skill and experiences align with the job responsibility and duties, as well as the job specification section. So now we come to the second element of this phase, place, and its related function, talent acquisition. So the core of talent acquisition is to attract and select employees who fit the organization and place them in the right role. So talent acquisition involves building a strong candidate pipeline, developing employer branding, assessing and hiring candidates, planning for future resources need, and diversifying the workforce. Successfully executing these steps will result in lower turnover, higher productivity, and improved employee engagement as you recruit the right people. So attraction, selection, attrition, ASA theory by Benjamin Snyder highlight that 3 key forces that shape the talent acquisition include, firstly, attraction. So the candidate may apply to any company, but are more likely to choose those with a strong employer brand and value proposition, which differentiate the company in the market. Secondly, the selection. So it's the company role to select the candidate who align with both the role and the organizational culture, emphasizing the person job and the person organization fit. Finally, attrition. So if there is a poor fit between the employee and the company or role, the employee will eventually leave. So managing attrition involves reassigning or managing out employees whose skills don't align with their job. So, after completing job analysis process, two most important products are JD and JS, job description and job specification. The former tell how successful job performance is to be measured, and the latter tells which factors can be used to predict the successful job performance. The combination of these two elements can serve as a foundation for talent acquisition process, and its related activity like recruitment, selection, and employee positioning will use these criteria and predictors to choose the right candidate for the specific job role. So the first component is recruitment, which is defined as the process of attracting a pool of qualified candidates for a job vacancy and pre-screening the right potential employees. The recruitment begins with understanding the talent requirement. It involves determining where the qualified applicant can be found or the recruitment sources. Secondly, choosing the specific means and recruitment method of attracting qualified and interested candidates. The second component is selection, or choosing the candidate who best meet the predetermined criteria. After recruitment, a group of potential candidates is created. These applicants then go through the selection step, where those who best meet the job requirement are offered employment. So a systematic approach with clear and objective criteria is crucial to ensure the right person job fit. And line managers and HR must define the key trait or the key characteristic that differentiate the successful candidate and apply valid, reliable method to predict the performance effectively. And the final component is placement or positioning. After conducting selection process, the most suitable candidates are placed to suitable role within the company. Now we delve deeply in the first element, recruitment. So as you may know, Coca-Cola was originally a tobacco company, but now its core businesses are food and beverages. So given this transition, the company requires people with different knowledge, skill, and ability. So in order to maintain its competitive advantage, a company must consider its mission, objective, and strategies in recruitment and selection. So developing a strategy that is suitable with the business need and the future vision is essential to ensure that the talent shortages are avoided and the company's goals are met. The 4B method, build, buy, borrow, and bridge, is a talent acquisition strategy framework often used to solve the talent challenges. So, firstly, build. So, to source highly skilled talent, enterprises may choose to build competency in-house. This can involve partnership with the university, creating internship and graduate hiring programs, offering upskilling training for current employees. One strength these employees can take on new role with greater responsibility. So some activities of this program like mentoring program, internship, individual advancement development plan, or advanced education or coaching. The second strategy called Bridge focuses on internal employee and emphasizes career development paths that often involve lateral move, horizontal move, rather than the hierarchical or vertical advancement. So this strategy helps employees broaden their skill set and is useful for creating task redundancy and planning phase retirement. Some activities of this program is mentoring program and reassignment. So as you learn, the build and the bridge are the two internal facing strategies. The former is focused on growth upwards, that enhancing the employee skill and competency. The latter is focused on opportunities outward that usually offer buddy system where people are paired up to learn and grow from each other. Okay, so the third strategy is to buy experienced talent from the external market, targeting individuals who are currently working in similar roles or they are ready to step into a more senior position. So instead of focusing on skill building, the goal is to find and to integrate new expertise into the company. So while the external market offers experienced, educated, and diverse candidates, this approach comes at a high cost, requiring competitive salary and benefit. So to succeed, the company must craft the attractive total reward packages, a compelling employee value proposition EVP, and a long-term strategic vision, as competition for top talent is so fierce. Some activities of this approach include sourcing and recruitment, referral programs, recruitment agency partnership, for example. And the final strategy is borrow. This involves working with part-time, freelance, contract, contingent, and temporary workers who complement skill of the current workforce. So borrowing provides access to a large group of strategic resources without requiring a long-term commitment. However, it requires creative planning to find the best fit for the short-term need. And some activities of this approach include the outsourcing or the temporary staffing solution or independent contractor. Okay, so I have introduced to you the basic characteristic of the 4 talent acquisition strategy: build, bridge, buy, and borrow. The first 2 are internal facing strategy with focus on the internal source of talent, and the remaining 2 focus on the external one. Okay, so my question is that which type of businesses are likely to choose each strategy within the 4B model? Build, bridge, buy, borrow. Okay, so now we talk about the build and the bridge first. Okay, so what type of business do you think will choose the build or the bridge approach of talent acquisition? What is your opinion, Mr. Tohib? Mr. Tohib, are you there?
Hello.
Okay, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
So I can't see the question on the screen. Please, can you bring it back?
Okay, so what type of business, what type of company will choose the build or the bridge approach of talent acquisition?
Bridge of talent acquisition. Okay.
What type of company do you think?
I think it will be mostly tech and IT companies, if I'm right, because of their software development and the need of cyber security to stay competitive and develop engineers and protect people and other businesses.
You mentioned that the tech company will usually use the build and the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, but could you please elaborate more specifically? Why? What are some reasons that this company will opt for this?
Because in tech and IT there is need to stay competitive because of the new trends and technology coming up in this new age. As in, you have to stay up to date with the technologies and the AI industry.
So the build and the bridge approach focus on the internal source of talent, meaning that the company will spend time, spend money, spend resources on developing the internal talent to fill their need of position. So you mentioned that the technology corporation will need to be up to date.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
and they need people to fulfill this goal. So do you think that instead of developing the people inside of the company, recruiting other candidates from another tech company will save the time and the money for the company to meet this objective?
Actually, I would say it depends, but to me, it's better for the previous employees to like make their skills up to date, like by taking more to be up to date with their skills, like maybe doing more research on how to protect the company. And that's what I have to say. Sorry.
Okay. Just one more follow-up question. Okay.
Okay.
Pretending you are a line manager of a technology department in a company, for example, and I'm an HR manager. Okay. So I talked to Mr. Tohib that you want to the main purpose of the technology department is to ensure that all of the method, all of the techniques are up to date, and we have current employees. But I know that there is a candidate, potential employees who are very good at that skill, who can bring new ideas to the company. So instead of developing your current team, which may take a very long time, I recommend you a candidate outside, so he can join a team and can make an influence and contribute to the goal of updating the system, updating the method. So what is your opinion in this case? Do you still keep your opinion of developing your team in the company, or you are willing to welcome the new employers from another company?
Definitely, I would like to employ new employees, because number one, the quality of service we offer cannot be based on previous employees. Like we have to be up to date because there are many industries like maybe competitors looking to like just snap your mistakes or maybe problem. So the time that you are going to use to learn new skills for previous employers, I think it's worth the shot to employ new people if it's going to skyrocket or help the industry.
Okay, so in your opinion, which factors do the company need to take into account or consider when deciding to choose, build, bridge, buy, or borrow? Which factors will influence this decision?
The factors that will influence is the skill.
The skill.
Yeah, if we don't have the skill at hand, I think is definitely what the shot to take, and the type of, let's say, maybe software or the type of the technology we need, maybe we don't have it. So I think for me that is it.
Yeah.
But basically just the skill.
Yeah. Good job, Mr. Tohit. Thank you so much for your sharing. Actually,
okay,
skill is influencing factors that the company can take into account when deciding to recruiting internally or externally. If the skill are rare, it means that we need to look inside our internal pool of talent first before we look outside. But there are some remaining factors that the companies need to take into consideration before making a decision. And what are they? So what are your opinion, Mr. Tom? So which factors do the company need to consider to choose to recruit internally or externally?
Yeah. In my perspective, with the further is in the 4P model, and for the external, I want to choose build. Yeah, because according like this war about like technology company, according like Tesla or Apple, and yeah, it's kind of like an internet development. So yeah, also manufacture like they are developing a supply chain and also production capability in-house for cost efficiency.
Cost efficiency. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So from your sharing, there are some factors that influencing this decision. Okay. So some technology or manufacturing company, from your opinion, I heard that they usually use the build approach.
Yeah.
That means recruiting from internally. So tell me, what are some advantages and disadvantages of the build approach or recruiting internally compared to finding the external candidate, recruiting outside? What are some advantages and disadvantages?
Yeah, the only advantage is if you are building for external development, you can build like is be free, and also you can create it more. For the disadvantages, it can be like you have to take more risks.
Wow. Take more risk.
Yeah.
Why take more risk?
Because of you are bearing, so not a borrowing, and not a borrow, and not buying. So you bearing something, and you have to like have to more create it, and also you have to face more problem on bearing and creating something.
Okay, so
yeah,
focusing on build approach, it means that we develop the talent internally and recruit the talent internally, they can have the risk when the company spend a lot of time, a lot of money on developing on this person in the hope that they will be able to fulfill the role in the future. But after the development phase, they leave the company. Okay, so it means that the opportunity cost is very high and the company need to compensate for that loss. Thank you so much, Mr. Tom, for your sharing.
Thank you.
Mr. Tin Lai, what is your opinion? Miss Tin Lai, what is your opinion? What are some factors that can affect the company decision on choosing the talent acquisition approach?
I want to admit I have no experience about working industry, but from my perspective, I think most of the companies needs those kinds of strategy for me. As for me, companies may be different according to their needs. What I mean is that in some industries, such as the health or military or technology, they need to build a bridge strategy because they have to update to the people. And for example, in hair industry, we need to get update technology about hair. As you know, today techniques in the hair industry is really updated. Most of the patients become save more than the ancient time. But in some kind of the industry, such as the NGO or WHO or some kind like that, at industry we need to get the buy and borrow or strategy because we have the short time to improve that remote area. So as for me, I think that's all.
Thank you so much for your sharing. It's very informative clarification on the reason or in what situation the business or the company will choose the strategy of build, bridge, or buy or borrow. And I want to listen to the final opinion before I make a summary. Okay, so Mr. Chibuzo Emmanuel, so what is your opinion? Which factors will influence the company decision on the talent acquisition approach?
Well, hello.
Hello, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think for me, it depends on the current the gap the company intends to fill and the skill necessity that it requires. So I think maybe if the company needs much specialized skill set that requires that of an expert, and if it has time on its hands, they can go with the build and bridge. It also tries to give employee compensation and satisfaction. That's in terms of making the current employees feel as if they are part of the business, because it tends to giving a sense of career advancement. It makes them feel as if they know they have opportunities to advance and grow in the business. So it can also serve as a form of reward and compensation for current employees. So it depends on the goal the company is trying to fulfill. So in terms of trying to fulfill long-term needs that doesn't require immediate fulfillment, they can go with the build and bridge. But when the company has needs that require immediate attention and they might not have time to start training their current workforce, they can go with the buy option. That's getting immediate experts to tackle the current needs of the company. Then for a company that doesn't, but then you should know that going with the buy option means that the company will have to expend a lot of financial yeah, so a company that is not liquid or that is not doing well financially might not be able to go with the buy option. So the buy option is suitable for a company that is that has their finances in order and can actually foot the bills that come with it. Then the borrow option can also serve two needs. That's trying to bridge the gap of lack of workforce and also reduced cost, because going with the borrow option, they can employ personnel on the basis of contracts. You can employ persons as contract staffs for certain durations to fulfill certain tasks, and then they can be let go as well. So I think these factors can necessitate the hiring decisions for the company.
Yeah, thank you so much for your very informative sharing. I think I really love the words that you use, the sense of career advancement. Actually, the build approach can make a large contribution to build this sense of this sense from the employees, because when the employees notice that the company invest the money and time in themselves, they are encouraged to try harder. They understand that the company value their contribution and want to invest in their development. And I think that using the build approach appropriately can be seen as a way of encouragement and contribute to the employee engagement. And I want to ask one more follow-up question with Mr. Tibuzo Emmanuel. Do you think that the build strategies is suitable for the startup enterprises?
Hello, please, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, my question is that, do you think the build strategy is suitable for the startup?
So if I get you correctly, asking if the build option is suitable for the staff.
Yes, the startups, the small enterprises.
Okay, the small enterprises. It depends. It can be said to be suitable for the small enterprises, in terms of if as a small enterprise you intend to grow into a bigger enterprise too. So if you are using the build option for the small enterprises, it means you are trying to grow the organization as you are growing your personnel too. So if the organization is growing and the personnel is growing at the same time, and if they are competent, it actually means that you have a workforce that knows the organizational goals and drive from the beginning. So essentially, it means they know what's informed the formative ideas behind the organization. It means they know the goal and the original motivation that came about to the company. So it means that most times, if as they are growing, as the business is growing too, you have that foundational staff that will be able to feel as if they are family. They see the business as their own, all things being equal. So they will put in their work, because knowing where the company is coming from and how their input and has been part of the driving force to getting the company to where it is. So I believe it will help them put in their best, because since the company has been part of their own personal growth too, so they will want to see to the growth of the company as well.
Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Thibault Emmanuel. Okay, so I noticed it is a message from Mr. Francis. Depending on the business model, could you please elaborate on this point?
Yeah, but because for startup, right? It
Yes.
depends on the there's a lot of business model thinking like for startup is like if you have a business like it's subscription based, then I think build is okay. Maybe I should elaborate like software as a service. If you are building it as a subscription base, meaning I quote an example, for example, like Apple TV. Like if I don't call it Apple TV, I call it Android TV probably. Everybody have a phone or maybe TikTok, and I create a TikTok movie film, short movie film. Everybody subscribe to me. And then this startup, I will use build because internally I have designer, I have a content creator, and then I can build it from there. So it based on the different business model that I'm actually referring to. But most startup will try to avoid the build model because of the resources. Yeah, but I would think that it's really depending on the business model. Things like it's easy, then of course I can build it. That because it's only you have your own team, the talent within your own team that you can do it. But but startup they will try to borrow, they will try to but it's always depend on the business model. For example, if I'm a startup, I'm a content writer, I will use TikTok, I will do filming, and then I will share it. People subscribe to it, I will earn it. So I still think it's based on business model.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your sharing. Yes, correctly. It depends on various factors, and business model is one of them. Another factor to consider when choosing the talent acquisition approach is the business goal and the resources that the company are willing to invest. So I mean, the staff or the companies which rapidly grow, or the companies looking for the rapid expansion of market entry, may not use build approach because, as you may aware, the build approach will require time, money, resources, and the time required for building the strategies may be not suitable with the company's purpose of quick expansion. Building is not sufficient to meet the quick and immediate demands of developing the business. So yes, it is like Mr. Francis has mentioned. In startup, usually they use the build or the buy or the borrow strategy to meet their immediate demand of talent and to save time. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Samuel. Yeah, economic factors and business objectives are also the essential factor to take into account before making the talent acquisition decision. So I will make a summary here. So the build strategy is suitable for the large companies with the financial abundance. As you know that developing your internal team require time and money for them to grow. So the large company with financial abundance will be in a good situation to use this approach. Developing workforce is a long-term play, and it doesn't offer or produce an immediate result as expected. Other company with a focus on cultivating internal capability and expertise, aiming for self-sufficiency, will opt for this approach also. It is also suitable when the skills are rare and it's difficult to look outside of the company. It means that in that situation, the company needs to develop the team inside. So the bridge strategy is suitable for the stable enterprises that are ready in time and financial resources to invest in their people. The company's industry where constant innovation, differentiation, or new creative ideas are critical. The buy strategy is suitable for the startup or those companies who need the rapid development and expansion. And the borrow strategy is suitable for the small companies that need to fill the unique job requirements or only need someone to undertake a project for a short period of time. Or the company that want to quickly scale up and down or outsourcing to streamline the operation. And finally, the enterprise seeking the flexibility in adapting to market changes without long-term commitment will opt for this borrow strategy also. So you can see that the 4P models introduces 4 strategies that can be categorized into 2 main groups based on the source of recruitment. The internal sourcing strategy. The first 2 strategies, build and bridge, focus on the internal recruitment. This involves filling position by promoting or transferring current employee within the company. So it could be a lateral move where the employee takes on a different role at the same level, or a vertical move such as a promotion. So external sourcing strategies include the remaining 2 strategies, buy and borrow, which are externally focused. Buy refers to hiring experienced talent from outside the company, while borrow involves bringing temporary or contracted workers to complement the existing workforce. Both strategies target candidates who are not part of the current employee base. Right? So, as we already discussed, internal and external recruiting can be both beneficial in different situations. So choosing between the external and internal recruitment depends on various factors, including overall talent strategies, business goals, business models, specific position requirements like whether the skill we're looking for is rare or not, and also the advantages and disadvantages of each kind of sourcing, internal and external. Presented on the slide is the pros and the cons of the internal sourcing, so you can refer it at home. And the next one belongs to external sourcing. So companies requires a combination of external hiring and internal recruitment. The key is to balance this method based on the specific needs of the company and the role in question. So there are some common methods for both internal and external recruitment as presented on the slide. So if a company has a strong internal talent pool, it can fill a vacancy by transferring employees from one department to another, lateral move, or by promoting them to a higher position, vertical move. However, if no internal candidate fit the role, external recruitment becomes necessary. This involves sourcing candidates from outside the company through employment exchanges, job fairs, or recruitment agency. So both internal and external recruitment method can be strategically leveraged to ensure the best candidate is selected. So today, a company's reputation is more important than ever. You can see that research shows that 75% of job seekers evaluate an employer brand before applying, whether a company actively monitors its employer brand or not. It significantly influences talent acquisition effort. I guess that you have likely heard of the words employer branding, which refer to how a company is perceived by the public. It's not just about telling people you are a great place to work. It's about proving it through action that match your promise. Employer branding is continuously experienced by the employees, customer, and the public. And in the afternoon section, we will take a closer look at some of the elements in the employer branding, how the company utilize these elements to attract the potential candidate and to engage the current employees. And we will analyze some of the motivation, some of the underlying motivation that differentiate the companies from another and motivate the employees to engage or to loyal to the specific company. Okay, I think that is enough for our morning section. We can cover a lot of information, and I think that it's better for us to take a lunch break. So please have a lunch break to 2 p.m. 2 hours. I think that is enough for you to have the lunch and to recharge your battery and be ready for the morning the afternoon session. In the afternoon section, we have 2 case study and some of the interactive question, and I'm looking for your perspective and your contribution like in the morning section. So again, thank you so much and have a nice break. See you at 2 p.m. Sorry, so see you at 2 p.m. Thank you and goodbye. Thank you. Have a nice lunch.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sophie.